It had been a week since she left the last road with a name. The wind lashed against her skin like silk whips. The sun clung to the back of her neck like a hungry beast. She had walked through a land no one dared to name, a place so empty even shadows gave up by noon. Every step cracked her feet open, leaving small red moons in the white dust. She no longer counted the pain, no longer remembered why she started, only that stopping meant dying. In the distance, through waves of shimmering heat, a figure began to form. A lone rider on horseback moving slowly, his wide-brimmed hat holding the weight of the sun. No words, no gestures, no promise. But still she walked, and he remained. It had been a week since she left the last road with a name. She no longer remembered what pushed her to walk, only that something inside her cracked, and the silence that followed was louder than any scream. So she walked. Not toward anything, really, just away. The land didn't welcome her, but it didn't stop her either. Alkaline flats stretched for miles, brittle and white like ancient bone. Even the sagebrush refused to grow here. Only the sun followed faithfully, searing her back with every step. Her lips had split days ago. Her water ran out before that. But still, her feet moved. Slow, cracked, bleeding, but moving. There were no signs, no voices, no life, only wind and the sound of her own breath, dry and rattling, scraping against the walls of her ribs. She stopped measuring time. The sky changed, but she didn't. Her shadow, the only witness, stretched thin beside her until it too disappeared. And then, on the seventh day, something changed. A flicker at the horizon, a shimmer not of heat but of movement, a figure. At first, she thought it was a trick of the light, but it grew clearer with every step. A horse, a rider. Moving slowly, as if he had all the time in the world. She didn't wave, didn't call out. What would she say? He didn't ask who she was, and she didn't ask where he was going. He simply turned his horse beside her, and together in silence they kept walking. Two shadows in a land that had forgotten names. They didn't speak. Not on the first night, not on the second, not even when the sky cracked open with thunder and cold rain poured over the desert like mercy too late. She stumbled once. He didn't catch her, but he slowed down just enough so she wouldn't fall behind again. They made camp under a half-dead tree, its limbs twisted like questions without answers. He built the fire. She didn't ask. He didn't offer. He handed her a tin cup of water. She took it. Their fingers brushed. It meant nothing. It meant everything. The firelight danced on her cracked skin, and in that quiet flicker, she realized something strange. The pain wasn't screaming anymore. It was whispering. Like it, too, was growing tired. He cooked something. Beans, maybe. Saltless, bland, but warm. She ate like someone who had forgotten what hunger was. He watched without watching. He had the eyes of someone who'd seen many people leave, and too few stay. At night, the coyotes howled. She thought she'd be afraid. But his silhouette beside the fire, motionless, breathing slow, was enough. She dreamed that night for the first time in weeks, not of what she'd lost, but of water, running water, and a woman who no longer bled when she walked. The next morning, he didn't ask if she was ready. He just stood, waited. And when she stood, he handed her a second walking stick, carved roughly from a branch, the bark still curling at the ends. She held it. And for the first time, her hand didn't shake. They walked again. Not fast, not far, but with purpose. When they found a creek, a thin silver thread through the dust, she laughed. Just once. A broken, brittle sound. But it was real. He crouched down, cupped water in his hands, and rinsed her feet. Not like a lover, not like a savior, just a man, doing what needed to be done. She didn't cry. There were no tears left. But something in her face softened, like a knot that had stopped pulling. They sat there until the sun tilted low. Still no words, but in the hush between wind gusts, in the crackle of fire and the rhythm of footsteps, in the smallness of shared bread, and the steady, steady presence beside her, something inside her began to return. Not hope, but breath. The days blurred, the land remained merciless, but it no longer felt like it was trying to kill her. It tested her, yes. But so did he. Without a word, he would stop walking if she fell behind. Without asking, she began rising earlier to keep pace. They never spoke of before, not once, as if naming the past might shatter the fragile present. One evening, as the sky faded into bruises, they reached the edge of something different. An old trail, faint but real, the kind that leads somewhere. He stopped. She looked at him, sweat dried, dust caked, eyes sharp from silence. He didn't look back, just stared at the horizon. Then he pointed. Left. A valley. Green, far off, faint threads of smoke curling in the dusk. A town, maybe. People, roads, shelter, a return to the world. Then he pointed right. Endless land, no signs, no smoke, just open sky and uncertainty. Two directions, two lives. He said nothing. Her breath caught, her legs ached, her back screamed, but what stopped her wasn't pain, it was the question behind his silence. Would she go back? Back to voices, to noise, to beds and roofs and rules? Or would she stay? Not here, not in the desert, but with him. With someone who understood the value of silence. Someone who saw her pain and didn't try to fix it, just made space for it to breathe. He didn't ask her to stay, but in the way he didn't walk away, she heard the question loud and clear. She stared at the left path, then at the right, then at her feet. She took off her shoes. Her heels were torn, raw, scarred. She stepped onto the trail barefoot. The dust was hot. She walked forward, not left, not right, but toward him. He still didn't speak. He just reached out, slow, steady, and took her hand. It was the first time they touched on purpose. Her fingers closed around his, and in that small act, everything changed. The silence between them was no longer empty. It was full of memory, of promise, of love, quiet, weathered, and real. They turned together and walked. No destination, no map, only each other. And that was enough.